Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. Today I'm going to do something different. I'm going to show you how I painted my Supergirl figurine. Now, I'm no stranger to the fact that at the moment this movie is being absolutely panned, but to be honest with you, it didn't matter how good or bad the movie was going to be. I actually liked the figurine, so I bought this from Wonderfest before I even saw the film. I will talk about the film in a minute, but this is available for a company called Sanix if you want to get it online as a 3D print file. S-A-N-I-X. Just go to Google and type Sanix Supergirl and you'll be able to get this. But it's first time really I've done sort of like a diary part of me painting and building a figurine on the channel. So if you do like this, let me know, because I do have another one here, which is Lilu for the Fifth Element, which I'm planning to do as well. But all depending on if you like these sort of things, where I'm showing you paints, airbrush techniques, that sort of thing. Supergirl. I saw the film. It was all right. It was a popcorn movie. The writing was terrible. The music was terrible. The acting was terrible. But Millie Alcock is actually a good Supergirl, I think. I just think she didn't have the tools to work with. So the music was terrible. Did I mention that? Hopefully they can change that at the end. But I do like the figurine. Let me show you how I built this. So you know what, I thought it'd be fun to do these sort of videos, like a video diary. So the sound's not the greatest and I'm recording it on my phone, but it does mean that I can actually have a roving camera. So I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on Krypto. So this is what Krypto looks like at the moment. Now, I was all ready to paint this, get this all going, ready for the diorama. And then I got a message from Lou Dalmaso, the Aztec dummy, who said you need to have one of the ears up and one down. Well, the easiest way to do that is to keep this ear as it is and then to put this one down rather than to make this one lift up more. Damn it, Lou! I thought this was going to be easy. So I'm going to have to cut his ear off, aren't I? Ugh. So I think that's looking pretty cool. All I've got to do now is I'm just going to fill in the little gap just behind there with some epoxy sculpt. So this is the stuff I use, Magic Sculpt. Just need a little P of that, not a lot. So this is the soft part. This is the hardener. Equal parts we need. And I'm just going to mix this up into a ball. I got my water and I got my sculpting tools. This isn't going to take a lot at all. What I'm going to do is take off a little bit here, dip it in the water. I'm going to be putting this into the gap here. Trying to follow the contours of the fur as well. Pretty happy with that. Hopefully you can see that. There you go. Krypto now has one ear in the air. Let that sit. That's going to be ready to paint. So there you go. That's what it's looking like once you've put the Magic Sculpt on it and sculpted it. So now it looks a lot better having two ears in the air. I can't believe I bought a Supergirl model and I'm ending up building Krypto instead at the moment. Okay, I've adjourned outside now because I'm about to give Krypto his primer coat. I'm going to give him a white primer coat. And my primer coat of choice is the Army Painter colour. And there you go. That doesn't take long. Okay, let's get to work on actually making this look like a dog. Okay, so what we have here is my wet palette from the Army Painter. And I've got my paint brushes in here and I've already put water in here with the semi-permeable layer, as you can see here, which is now wet, which means I can put paint on. So for that, I'm going to be using my Vallejo black here, just a little bit on here. I do have my magnifying glasses on. Now, Krypto's eyes are actually a brownish yellow, but I'm choosing the black just as sort of like a base. So as you can see, they're looking like that at the moment. Let's just do the mouth. Now, I've had to look at my Dachshund's mouth to check out things like lips and stuff. Yeah, they're black. So that's looking like that. Let's do the nose. Now, on the nose, I want you to check something out here again. I've had to look at my dogs to see how they are. Basically, they've got a line here which looks like how big the nose should be. It's not. It's actually quite small. In this area here, there's some greys, which I'm going to be doing now through the whole of Krypto. So let's see how that works out. Okay, there's a tiny part inside the mouth, which is going to be kind of like a red, but because of the shadow on it, it's going to be really, really dark. Really dark. More like a... It's going to be black, really, but with a little red tinge, which is what I've got loaded up here. And then finally, I'm going to use a bone white just for the teeth. Okay, that's looking good at the moment. Right, let's start dry brushing some of these greys. Okay, so I'm going to try this one first. This is like a blue grey, but I do need to make sure I'm dry brushing this. So I put some on the cloth here, and I'm now just taking it all off. And I'm going to start working on the nose area. Hopefully you can see that. That's how it's looking. I'm going to do the same in the inners of the eyes. Kind of like that, but he also has some, just looking at the pictures here, just here as well. Little part. Now with the ear, I can make this quite dark in there to start off with and then bring it out. And now the last place I'm going to just dry brush is just underneath the nose area here, along the lip line, and then just a little bit at the front. And now I can go through all the fur, just giving this a little dry coat of everything here. So we're going to define some of these areas. What I'm trying to do is take off the bright white. I know Krypto's white, but he's not like a luminous white. Now with Krypto's claws, you never get to see the claws. I've stopped the video loads of times, you know, but you do never get to see them. So I think I'm just going to leave them white, to be honest with you. So there you go. That's how he's looking at the moment. He's only got his cape and collar to do. I'm pretty happy with the face area now. Now this is the bane of my life now, that trying to figure out reds. I'm colorblind to red, so I'm gonna have a look at this, try and match this color up with a picture and see how we get on. You know what, I'm gonna go for this color. This is New Worlds, and it's called Impenetrable Red. If anything, it's the name's apt. Now in the film, Krypto actually has a big S on his back. Well, it's not an S, is it? It's actually a symbol of Krypton. But I'm going to paint his cape, show you what that looks like. So this is the Wii stream here. I put some gloss varnish on it. I'm just going to use a cotton bud just to give this the gloss effect here. Perfect. And I'll let that dry. And then the last thing I need to do is, this is the newspaper here that Urine stream is going to be going on to. So I need to make all these letters black. So I've already painted the paper. So let's paint the letters. So I'm just taking them on at an angle, and hopefully I can get all of this done. So that's the paper done. And then all I need to do is put some micro crystal clear all over this section here. Obviously that's micro crystal clear there. Grab my Urine stream, just put this into place here. So that is how that's going to look. So here's the base. Now I can put some glue, and I am using super glue here. This is where I'm going to be sticking that newspaper, and put that into position where it goes there. So then when Krypto goes on, and I'm not going to stick the Urine stream to his underside, I don't think I need to do that. It gives you an idea of how he looks when he's weeing on the paper. But there you go. So I'm calling Krypto done. Next thing I'm going to be working on is this rock section just at the back here. The other thing that I did was this Superman logo here. I actually frosted this. Now I was going to light this So there's a light coming up. I think it would take away from the model though, so I'm not actually going to light this at all. I think the model's going to speak for itself. Okay, now Supergirl's body comes in two pieces here. I've actually joined these together, but I am going to glue these, and I will be painting this as one part, and then I'm going to be doing the head and the legs as separate parts. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prime this in a matte black. So I use my Army painter colours, which looks like this. As you can see, matte black. Let's get that black. Now, I'm going to be doing that whole thing. So Supergirl's not put together yet. Basically, I've just slotted it together just so I can paint the Zenithal coating on this. Basically, I painted Supergirl black with a black primer, and then I used a white primer from the top just to get this effect. What I'm going to do now is take this apart and start painting the individual pieces. So for that reason, we're going to do the legs and the boots. Now, the boots I'm going to be painting with a paintbrush, but I'm going to be using an airbrush on the skin tones. So let's do that now. Now, even though the boots are going to be this red colour as well, I want to put a colour of red just under here before I start doing the flesh tone. So let's do that now. There we go. That'll do. Right, let's start the flesh tones. So these are the three colours that I go with when I do the flesh tones. I use the one on the left for the base coat. Then I use the middle one for the highlights, and then I finish up with the reddish one, which will bring some of that saturation back. Now I have thinned this first colour down quite a bit because I'm going to be bringing this on in layers. So let's do that now. So after the first pass, that's how that's looking. Looks good already. So the second coat, the lighter tone, has now gone on. That's pretty much on the highlighted areas there. Haven't really put it on the backs, just on the fronts. But now I'm going to use this one, as I said, to bring that saturation back now. I must stress, when I actually use these colours, they are very much watered down. I'm using pretty much half and half in here. And there you go. That's how that's looking at the moment. And I'm going to leave that to dry now. That's pretty much all I'm doing with the airbrush. Okay, so everything with the airbrush is now done. What I've got now is some yellow added to a bit of water. Basically, this is just coloured water in here. I'm going to brush this all over the legs. So now that's looking like that. And the next thing I do is just blot that off with a soft towel. Hopefully you can see where I'm going with this. Now I'm doing it with blue. And it looks like I'm destroying it, but I'm not. Trust me. Trust the process. So that's looking like that. I'm going to blot this off now. And you've guessed it, I'm going to do the same with the red. So that's all done now. I don't know if you can see, but it basically gives the imperfections, some little veins in there and stuff like that. It just doesn't look like flat skin now. But I'm pretty much done with that. Excellent. So when I do the boots, I'm going to be using this same red that I used to do the undercoat of that skin. But I'm actually going to put that on with a brush using a wet palette. So I think for tonight I'm going to leave it there, but that is what the bottom half looks like. Looking pretty cool. I probably am going to give those boots another coat, plus I do need to just do the soles, or the side of the heels there, which I think I'm going to do like a dark brown. Okay, it's the next morning. Happy with that. I still need to do the heels. As you can see, I'm going to do them a brown, but now I'm going to be working on these two parts here. Now I've already done the flesh tones here. I'm about to do the coat, and I can't figure out what coat colour to do the coat. So I'm going to be using a colour called brown leather. It's that one there. It doesn't match entirely on the screen because I think the one in the screen had some red in it, but I'm going to use that. In fact, the coat changes between Superman and Supergirl. So either way, I'm going to put a base coat of this colour on with a brush, and then we'll see where we go from there. Okay, now I've done that, I'm not happy with it. It's too dark. It makes a nice base coat, so I'm going to lighten it up. I found this colour called US Field Crab, which is more of a yellowy brown. That's what I'm going for. So I'm going to do that one. Oh, that's turned out so much better. I'm so happy with that. Okay, so it's time to do Supergirl's costume underneath, which is a gold belt, the red little skirt there, and then the blue, and then this section here, which is red, and it's sort of like an orangey yellow. It isn't just yellow. Well, I think that's going to be tough. Then I've got to do the headphones there. So while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm just going to turn my attention to this. And this is just going to have a dry brush of grey to start making this look a bit more like a rock. So for that, I've got another New World paint here, which is the Zenith Grey, and my biggest dry brushing brush. It'll be just a case of getting this all into the crevices here, do it in a circular motion. There you go, that doesn't take long to do. I'm just going to leave it like that, I think. Cool. So the next colour I'm using is Burnt Umber. And I'm going to be putting that on the sole of Supergirl's boot. Now it's worth pointing out an inconsistency in this model, that this part here has got gold trim on it, but on this model, as you can see, I can't just paint this area here gold. It will look nothing like it, but she does have gold on the toe caps there, so I will be doing that. So same thing, I'm going to use this New World's Impenetrable Red, same colour as the boots to do the skirt. I'm going to use a paintbrush for this. Now while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to be using, believe it or not, a medium flesh tone, this one's called. But it's the yellow that I want to make the yellow in her little S there. Or the symbol, it's not an S, is it? So I'm going to paint that whole thing yellow, believe it or not. And there we go. That's what that looks like. It's not exactly yellow. It's kind of like a darky yellowish orange colour. But the last thing I'm going to put on that would be the red. But now we're going to be doing the blue. Now I'd already lined up my blue colour, which is this Andrea blue. That's what I'm going to use for that. Again, just while I'm waiting for that to dry, I have been gluing these parts in now. So the base and that bottom half is all glued in, including Krypto now. Okay, so that's dry now. We're almost finished with the body. All I've got to do is the belt in gold, and I've already done the drinking flask as well. Now with the flask, I'm going to actually spray the whole thing with that frosting spray I've got as well, so you can't see the straw inside. But that's going to look pretty cool. Okay, for the gold of the belt and the shoes, I'm going to use this old gold colour from Vallejo. And there you go, that's the belt done. And the boots. And now lastly, it's time to do the symbol, the cable, and the headphones there. Okay, so that is now all together. All we got left to do is the head. Looking pretty cool. With the head, I've obviously already done the flesh tones, but I'm going to be painting the hair. You're going to think I'm going crazy. Trust the process. Smoke. It's like a brown colour, really dark brown. Okay, and that's what it looks like with that first coat. Back to dry brushing now. We're going to be dry brushing Iraqi sand into that hair. I'm just going down in the direction of the hair to give this sort of effect. So let me do the whole thing and I'll show you what that looks like. So the last colour I dry brushed in was the yellow, and then that gives this sort of effect. I'm pretty happy with. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the bronze around the glasses. And there you go. That's the head done and attached. So that's the full model completed. I'm really happy with how this turns out. As I said, I didn't really think lighting the base adds anything to the model, so I didn't light the base. But I was really happy how this turned out. And I really hope you liked my video diary of how I built this model. And there you go. So that is the figurine complete. And I really do hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.